Hello, my name is Ioanna Trafalis and I work for the Athens Institute for Education and Research, which is a world association for academics and researchers. We have started a new initiative of interviewing the participants that come to our many conferences in Athens to present their work. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Luigi Spedicato, Associate Professor at the University of Salento in Italy. Hello, Dr. Spedicato. Welcome to Athens and welcome to our series of interviews. So, I would like to start with your presentation at the conference. You present the paper, Rebuilding the Public Sphere, Frame and Formats of the No-Tap Movement in Salento, a case study in the political use of Facebook. Tell us a few words about this.
Yeah, I come from Salento, and Salento is a part of the Puglia region. Salento was interested in the pipeline coming from Caspian fields for bringing natural gas from Caspio to Italy. Well, the project has a very high environmental impact, so many people complained and organized themselves in a movement, in a collective movement. One of the first moves of the movement was to create a Facebook page, for gathering opinions and for organizing people. So we think that this is a very interesting case studies for understanding if Facebook can be a major instrument, a major tool for improving democratic participation from below to decisions involving local communities. So we studied the Facebook page, we analyzed the 2,000 posts on Facebook, and we tried to understand if actually Facebook can support democratic movements from below. One of the reasons was to analyze Facebook was the failure, in my opinion, of Facebook in the case of the Arabic Springs. Many people, not only from the political and sociological fields, started thinking that the social network can support democratic processes. Well, all the cases we have in literature actually show that social networks often can organize people, but they cannot interfere with political decisions on state level.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So tell us a few things about yourself, your studies, your career, and whatever else you want to add.
Well, as a matter of fact, I did not start my career as a scholar. Okay. Immediately after I graduated at the University of Lecce, I started working as a TV producer and for the Italian state television, the RAI. It was a 6-year experience. Then I went back to the University of Lecce, starting as a junior researcher, and then I went to the United States for 1 year with the US government grant. It was a very interesting period. Coming from the experience in the television, I started studying mass communication with Professor David Altaid at the Arizona State University during the first semester, and then I went to the Boston University School of Journalism. After that experience, those experiences, I kept studying media. Of course, now almost every media scholar, have to deal with social media, internet, and social relations within the internet.
Okay, thank you. So what is your current major area of research?
Yeah, two major areas of research. First deals with the social effect of the network and especially of social media. It is a common interest for almost every people working in the field. But I am also an evaluator of public bodies' performances. This means that I work for public bodies such as municipalities, such as the Region Puglia or other public bodies, and my duty is to evaluate the effectiveness of their work, the way they use the human resources within, and the way and the degree they fulfill the institutional duties they have to perform. So it's a very different part of the first, but anyway, in both cases I started from being a sociologist. Mm-hmm. It means that I apply the basic rule of sociological research both for studying media and for evaluating public bodies' performances.
Okay. So you mentioned before the rebuilding of the public sphere in Salento through the no-tap movement. Do you think a similar method would be effective in Athens for the rebuilding of the public sphere?
I would say that without making any political statement, now Greece is a very interesting place to watch and to analyze the process of public participation to the democratic process. I mean, Greece, as everybody knows, is crossing a very sensitive moment with respect to the relations of the state with the European Union, the International Monetary Fund, and there is a lot of questions inside this moment. First of all, how can we consider the problem of sovereignty, of national sovereignty, when you have to deal with financial international institutions? This is the first problem. You can also read this problem in another way. Is the people of Greece now able to take these relevant decisions about itself? Of course, the answer to this question is very complex. It has to do also with the process of the European Union, and now in several countries, not only in Greece, but I'm thinking to the Brexit process in Great Britain. We do not know how this process will end. Greece is on its national experiment. Italy has to face another difficult moment. Brexit means that simply we lost a piece of the European Union. But anyway, the main issues now is the new forms of democracy and the relation between democracy and media, especially the internet media and the social network.
Okay, thank you. So how were you introduced to Athens, and what made you decide to attend the conference?
Yeah, I met Athens just on the web.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I got some email presenting the program of the conference, so I started checking about Athens, about this network of international scholars. Of course, a network of international scholars is the basic, how can I say it, the basic tool for being a researcher. From the very start of the universities, back in many centuries ago, you must be in the network. You cannot be simply behind your desk, reading your book and writing your book. You must talk to other people. You must make common research. Only this way, scientific knowledge can improve itself. And so I was very interested. Another reason, put it plainly, is that I was never in Greece or in Athens. This is a very beautiful city.
Have you been around?
Very little, but in the next days we are planning to see the cities, and only a small part of its treasures. But one decision we have already taken, we means my wife and I, is to come back as soon as possible and to spend at least 1 week going for museums and or simply strolling along the streets of the city.
Okay. You should. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I think that we will like it. It's also because one important reason is that you have wonderful food, very close to the food we use daily in our region.
Yes.
But I will say that Athens is one of the less expensive cities we have ever visited.
Ah, really?
Really, it is, believe me.
Okay. So, tell us a few words about the educational system in Italy, and what do you think are its advantages, and what do you think are its disadvantages?
Educational system in Italy?
Yes.
Well, 2 words, joy and pain.
Ah.
First of all, joy. According to the international standards, Italian researchers, especially mainly the young researchers, are among the world prepared, the best prepared researchers in the world. Yeah. It means that we are doing our job. The pain, we are critically underfinanced. We have much less money of what we need.
Similar to Greece.
Well, you know, when one of my students would graduate with a very good job, the first thing I tell him or her is, please take your bag and go away. Go abroad. simply because we cannot assure you a future. This is a loss for the country, because we put money in a higher education system, but we cannot use that money back for getting new competencies, new skills. This is tragic, because we are losing at least 2 generations of young researchers. It is no question of political choices, because we get severe cuts in financing, both from left-wing governments and right-wing governments. Nobody of them seem to care about the importance of granting a future to the young researcher. For example, the average level of years of age between among the scholars in Italy is very, very high. It's very high. In Italy, usually you become an associate professor not before 40 to 45 years of age. It's too late. It's really too late. So this is the most critical point. Really, the most critical point. I don't know if in the future the course of things, the way things happen, will change. Now we are more skilled than in the past to use financing from the European Union. But anyway, the problem of financing is the most critical point in the higher education system in Italy.
Do you see any solution to this, or?
Well, the solution is linked to the conditions of the public budget, internal gross revenues in Italy. Since we now are facing an important economical and productive crisis with the loss of jobs, we are losing jobs very quickly. We are really losing jobs, and most of all, we are losing qualified jobs, lifelong jobs. Young people usually get jobs which last for 1 semester or for 1 year, and then they have to start again looking for another job. This is no way to grant a safe and a long-lasting period of economic growth in Italy. I think that the situation in Greece is more or less the same.
Yes, it's very simple, yes.
Yeah. So I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic. This is I hope I am making a mistake in being so pessimistic, but I describe myself simply as a person who daily works in the higher education system and can see from inside the problems, but also the opportunities. All of us have good students, very good students, very well motivated, very well skilled. They know languages, they can travel abroad and present themselves in international meetings. What we cannot do is simply to say, well, stay here until something happens. No, it's not correct. So my advice is, well, you are clever, you are skilled, please go abroad. We shall see during meetings or in other ways, but don't stay here simply hanging until something happens.
Thank you very much for your time.
It was
very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.